Now let us talk about brainstorming. What is brainstorming? Brainstorming is one of the most common tools used in quality management and management in general. It is used all over the world by different teams. Although commonly used by teams, it could be used by individuals, too, to generate creative ideas in a relatively short period. The key to brainstorming is to withhold judgment or criticism of ideas till the end of the session. The session itself is divided into 3 phases. In the first phase, everyone is encouraged to participate by their ideas. Brainstorming is described as a quick, powerful, and energizing technique to elicit from a group a list of ideas, perceptions, problems, opportunities, questions, possible causes, the dimensions of a problem, alternate solutions, and so forth. Indeed, it is not a process in itself. It is usually a part of a process. We could use it to generate probable causes of a problem, probable solutions of a problem, or even creative ideas for a new marketing campaign. When to use it? As said, brainstorming is usually not a standalone process in itself. Usually it's a part of a process. Whenever you think of your need to generate different alternatives, whether causes, reasons, options of a new campaign, probable solutions of a problem, or whatever you think of. As long as you are thinking of your need to generate different alternatives, you should think of using brainstorming as a tool. Now let us have a look on different types of brainstorming. Indeed, this is specifically peculiar in the first phase, the generation phase. We can request participation of different team members in one of 2 methods, either in a structured form or unstructured form. In the structured form, every member in the group contribute their idea in turn. The good thing about this type is that everyone is guaranteed to participate in the session. However, it could put a little stress upon participants, on the other side, as members might feel obliged to participate. In the unstructured method, the team members contribute their ideas as they arise without waiting for a turn. The good thing is that it relieves the team from stress. However, it may pass some participants if they are reluctant to participate. Now, let us go ahead and start to identify the main structure of each phase of a brainstorming session. Let us start with the first phase, the generation phase. Before we go ahead into details of the generation phase, let me explain to you what the main objective of each phase. We have 3 phases: generation phase, clarification phase, and evaluation phase. In the first phase, the generation phase, we are concerned with the number of ideas generated. We are not concerned with quality or evaluating any idea. We are concerned with generating the maximum possible number of ideas or alternatives in the specified time for the session. In the second phase, the clarification phase, it is time for getting more explanation or clarification from different team members about their ideas from the generation phase. We should make sure that all the team understands what everyone means by their ideas. So, for example, if there is a confusing idea or an idea that is not clear to the rest of the team, we should seek clarification from the owner of this idea to make it more clear to everybody in the team. The last phase is the evaluation phase. It is the time to remove any duplicate ideas or any non-practical ideas. Also, ideas that are beyond the resources of the organization, ideas that are far from the scope of the session should be removed in the evaluation phase. At the end of the evaluation phase, it is supposed that the team has a number of agreed ideas as a conclusion of the session. Now let us focus on the generation phase. As said, this is the first phase. In this phase, it is important to make the objective of the session and the general rules of the session very clearly visible to the team members so that the whole team agrees on what to be expected from the session itself. This phase focuses on generating the maximum number of possible ideas or alternatives for the objective of the session. It does not matter if the ideas generated are logical or not. We are just focusing on quantity, on the number of ideas, rather than quality of ideas. So, in this phase, it is very important for the facilitator of the session to withhold any criticism of ideas. Also, ideas should be expressed in a few words, no elaborate explanations of ideas at that stage. One important thing to care about in the generation phase is timing. The team should stick to that specified timing of the session. This is more or less important in encouraging the team members to generate the maximum possible number of ideas within the time limit. So, at the end of the generation phase, the team has a list of generated ideas to be processed in the second phase. Now it is time for some clarification. As said, in the first phase, we were worried more about the quantity or the number of ideas, rather than their quality. However, in this phase, we seek explanation or clarification from the team members about their own ideas. If there is anything that is vague or unclear, to make sure that all the ideas or items on our list are clearly understood by the whole team. Now it is time for the final phase, the evaluation phase. In this phase, we are concerned with removing any waste. In other words, we are trying to remove any non-practical ideas, the ideas we try to merge similar ideas together into one idea. However, this should be done at the discretion of the team. No idea should be removed without consensus or agreement from the whole team, otherwise, some participants may lose trust in respecting their input. The conclusion of the evaluation phase should be an agreed list of options. It is important here to say that there is no standard rule for how to evaluate each idea. For example, as we will see in next video and our practice example about brainstorming session, the team agreed to merge listening skills and communication skills into one item as communication skills. However, another team might consider them two ideas, instead of merging them. What is important here is to have an agreed list by the whole team at the end of the phase. Now what? Now we have a list of agreed ideas, probable causes, probable solutions of our problem and agreed by the team. However, as said before, mostly this is not the target itself. Usually, we need this list for further processing in a further process. So, the next step will be further processing of this list according to the objectives of the team. For example, if we have a list of probable causes of a certain problem, we may use this list into further analysis of the root causes of the problem. On the other side, if we have a list of probable or suggested solutions of a problem, we may use some sort of decision matrix or periodization matrix to prioritize the suggested solutions so that the team can work on one or more of them. In the next video, we will go into an example about a brainstorming session. However, for the time being, I will introduce you to the background of the session itself. In the next video we'll go into details step by step about how to implement that brainstorming session. In this example, Dr. Jackin is the medical director at Serpanios General Hospital. She is working on an initiative for developing personal skills of physicians in the hospital. She intended to hold a training program about this, however, she is hesitating about what should be included in such a program. So, Ms. Sarah, the nursing manager at the same hospital, has suggested to Dr. Jacqueline to hold a brainstorming session to generate some ideas for the program. Dr. Jacqueline liked this idea. She distributed a memo to the expected members. There are 4 members of the team representing the medical staff in the hospital. This memo has included date, venue, timing of the session, objective of the session and the general rules of the session. On the day of the session, Dr. Jacqueline acted as the session facilitator. The session facilitator usually is a person who has some training or experience in handling such sessions, so her role was to coordinate and make sure of applying the rules of the session, without directly intervening in the core process of generating ideas. She used a board and sticky notes for recording the team ideas. Dr. Jacqueline has made sure to make the objective of the session and general rules very clearly visible to everybody in the team. The time limit of the generation phase was said to be 3 minutes. The 4 team members started generating ideas as they arise. They chose to use an unstructured form of the generation phase. They wrote their ideas on sticky notes, and Dr. Jacqueline, the facilitator, posted them to the board. In the next video we'll go through a step-by-step process to understand how to implement such decisions.